Well, hello everybody. Welcome to our seminar on Google Groups from Blackbaud. And hopefully my mic is okay today. We had one of these on Wednesday, and there were some mic issues. There was an echo. I had some settings changes that hopefully solved that. But let me know if you have any issues hearing me, or there's any echo or anything. Just drop that in the chat if you would. And I'll try to fix that. I'm running OBS here, so I'll jump in there if there's any issues. So, I'm Eric, the founder of UserBus. I wish I had a co-founder. That would be nice. But I'm excited to share. We have this sync that brings Blackbaud data into Google, and it creates groups in Google that you can bring up in Gmail, kind of as auto suggestions. So just a couple things about the webinar here. Interrupt me anytime. I'm just going to go through the presentation, but if you have any questions, just drop them in the chat. But just so you know, there is about a 15 to 30 second delay between me speaking and when you're hearing it on your end. So when you send those chat messages, they won't show up right away from my perspective. So this will be made public at the end, but your chat messages will not. So don't worry if you don't want to show up on this video, you won't. All right, so good, we have a sounds good. Thanks, Don. That's good to know. So it looks like we're doing better today than Wednesday. So hopefully that stays the case. All right, so just a little bit about UserBus to get started with here. I've been doing this since 2014. This was actually, when I started it, I was at a high school here in Michigan. And I've been doing it now full time since 2022. Kind of took what I had started there and then brought that to other schools and then switched from some other work into doing this full time. So it's been a good over 10 years, but and then a couple of years doing it full time. And work with Blackbaud schools around the U.S., and some other schools too that are not on Blackbaud, but it's mainly Blackbaud schools. And we're based here in Southeast Michigan. And here are some of our customers. So these are some of the schools we work with. Just a random list here pulled from our customers. And great to see those of you who are here and could make it. All right, so now to jump into it, Google and Gmail parent groups. This is today's topic, and this is, you may have seen if you got the email that invited you here, or you came through another way, but this is what was sent out, and this is just showing what the end result of this is. You're in Gmail, you can type the name of a student, and you're going to get this this drop down here that has parents of that student, and it's going to list their first names. So it's kind of a nice and easy way, if you know a student whose parents you want to contact, that just puts them right in your Gmail. All right, so yeah, type a student's name and there's their contact info. So there's another way that this works too, which is it also organizes by parent grade. So you can, by student grade and then parents in that. So you can say parents grade, and then you get a list of the grade numbers. So if you wanted to email all the parents in of students in a certain grade, you could do it like this. All right, so that I'm going to jump right into the demo. Easy on the slides today, but basically how this works, and I'll bring this up so you can see. I'm actually going to bring over a browser window here, and we'll just look at how this all works. So if you're new to UserBus, this is our website, userbus.xyz, and over here, the sign-in link, you would click on that and go to sign up, and then once you've filled this out, this would basically get you into UserBus to be able to use this. And I'm going to bring up a pre-baked account here. That is our one of our test schools. So this is where you would end up once you've signed up, is here on this dashboard page. And you would click the create button, and you get, here's our different syncs, and the top one is our self-serve syncs. So this parent group sync is the one you would choose here. So we'll go ahead and click on that, and it's going to guide you through the setup steps. Okay, so the first thing it wants to know is what kind of groups we want to create in Google. So we have, like I said, these two different types of groups. One is by parent and the other is by the grade of the students. And you don't have to create both. If you're just interested in one, you can just check that one. We'll just leave both here checked for the demo. So then I will go on to, sorry, I just accidentally changed my slide here. There we go. So then I'll go on to the next slide here. And now we can, now it's asking us to set up user bus in Google. So you would go to the Google admin console, and for those on the call who are less technical, this is where you might involve your IT department or whoever manages your Google would come in at this point. So it has a link here to right where you need to go in Google, and this sets up domain-wide delegation, which basically allows user bus to manage the different parts of your Google workspace. And this is no exception. These groups go into Google Workspace. So I won't demo that. It's already set up in our test Google Workspace environment. So you would follow through and scroll down here, and then once that's done, you would click next. Okay, so then you need to also create a Google user for user bus. And this user does not log into your Google admin ever, so user bus is not actually logging into your Google admin console. This is like a placeholder user that's there so that you can assign permissions to it, which we'll do in the next step, well, 2 steps, I think. So I'll click next here. That's already also been done in our test environment. And now it asks us for the email of the user that we create in Google. So we'll put that in here, and this is for our Google test environment today. So the steps just recommend you can just create a user with the username userbus, or if you need a different one, that's fine too. All right, then you click next, and it asks us to assign certain permissions to manage groups in Google. So you'd go through these steps in the Google admin console, and that would give the user the permissions that it needs. Okay, and almost to the end here. Now we need to set up a connection to Blackbaud One roster. And this is in Blackbaud in Core under your settings and then integration settings for those who may not have set up a One roster connection before. And we have instructions that I can send if that's the case for you. Okay, so I see a question coming here, so let me pause real quick and look at that. Would this work for school groups like all middle school students or grade 7 students? It does. Well, we have not this particular sync, but we have the ability to create those kinds of groups in Google also. That would be our, if I go back to the syncs page here real quick, we have a Google Workspace sync down here, and this one is paid. This one has a little bit more options as far as we can customize it to how you want to group that. So if you wanted a group like middle school parents, we can definitely set that up too. Right now for the free sync here, we just have those 2 options, just the grade level groups and the groups by student name. Yep, but we can definitely do more. We can customize it with some of these other ones. But okay, so yeah, for the One roster connection, I have a couple of pre-made connections here that are just test connections, and we're gonna have fake data coming in. So, all right, let's click next, and then yeah, so I think this here is the final step. We're gonna in Blackbaud set up grade level mappings. So again, step-by-step instructions how to do this. Some of you may already have these set up. If you have a One roster connection, you might have done this before, because this gets grade levels into One roster data. Okay, so that would be something to set up in Blackbaud, and then we'll click next, and that's it. We've finished all the steps of the sync. Okay, so then this takes us to run and preview, and this is nice because before you actually make any changes in Google, it lets you preview what user bus would do, what groups it would set up. So I'm going to go ahead and click that now. And if all goes well, if I did this right, we should see that within hopefully a few seconds here, and there we go, it's completed a plan of what it would do. So I'm going to click on that. And then here under plan, I should see a list and it's taking a minute to load. Let me try refreshing that. There we go. Should see, yeah, so we get a list of the groups that it would create. So here we have, so like I said, these are all fake names. Okay, so don't worry that you're seeing confidential data. You're not. These are these come from a list of first names and last names that I have that it randomly chooses from. So we're just seeing a bunch of random combinations of names here. But yeah, there's in our test data, there's 30 some students, and so it creates a group for each student and their parents. And after that, we should see, yeah, our grade level groups too. So that's great. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do while we're here is, now this can often take a few minutes to run, because it takes a little bit of time to create each group in Google. But let me show you what's in Google now. Let me see if I still have that. Yeah, here we go. So we have an empty groups list in Google. And let me just make sure that we've got nothing there. Oh, it's going to want me to sign in again because I've been off there for a couple minutes. So let me sign in with my password here. All right, here's a refreshed page with, yes, 0 groups in Google right now. So what we're going to do is try running it live here. And while that happens, let me get back to our slides. A couple more things just to talk about while it's running there. Okay, so yeah, the first thing is, again, this is totally free. Sign up is free, the sync is free. And so if you're interested, there is a link in the description there you could get into user bus with, and you'd be able to play around with this. Oh yes, I see another comment question here. Do users find that this sync clogs up the suggested recipients that appear when they start typing a name in their draft email? For example, if there are multiple students or faculty with the same name. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so the way that it does that right now, that it disambiguates, is it adds the grade level after the student's name. And so if you have Johnny Smith, it's going to say Johnny Smith parentheses grade 6 parents. And so far that's been enough. I guess we'll probably at some point maybe run into a school where there's like 2 Johnny Smiths in grade 6 or that kind of thing. And if that happens, we can disambiguate how you'd like, so we could add something else, the student's ID or something if you needed some extra way to disambiguate. But yeah, so far no complaints as far as like our address list is too cluttered now. We haven't gotten that. I think because Google makes it nice to where it only shows suggestions that are related to what you're typing. So if you're looking for student Johnny Smith, it's only going to show that suggestion if you start typing like Johnny. It's not just going to be in the list when they're looking for another faculty or student. But yeah, good thought. So yes, so the like I said, link in the description here, and then okay, so then some frequently asked questions too that I was going to cover. And if you have any other questions too, think of them, and I'll come back to just like a question and answer period at the end. So think of any questions that you might have, and we've got some good ones in the chat here already, but yeah, feel free to keep dropping those in the chat. I'll come back to those in just a minute. All right, so some questions we get on this, typically one of them is, what if we change parents' email addresses in Blackbaud? And that is totally supported. So UserBus will automatically update these groups in Google. Anytime that there is a parent email address change, it's going to go in and it updates the group. So it'll remove the old address from the group and it will add the new one. What happens when a student leaves? So this cleans up after itself, meaning, year to year, it's going to remove old groups, or not even year to year. As soon as a student withdraws or leaves, whatever happens, it's going to clean up that old group so that it doesn't just hang around there. Can this handle one parent or 2+ parents? Yes, it can. When do the groups update? So our syncs typically run once a day, and there is a settings page in the app where you can choose the time of day. Does this affect our Blackbaud data? No, it doesn't. It only reads from Blackbaud, so it's never going to make any changes to your Blackbaud. The only changes it makes are in Google. Okay, can we preview the Google changes before making them? Yes, we already saw that. Yep, the preview button. All right. Any questions that you have, feel free to drop them in the chat here. And like I said, there's about a 30-second delay, so while I'm waiting for that, if any come through, I will go over to show you some of our other syncs here. We keep adding syncs. Some cool ones I'll highlight while we're here. Besides this one, we have a constant contact sync that can create lists in constant contact based on departments, the same types of things by class year. So kind of similar to what we're doing here with grade. And like I said, we've got the full Google sync here. But yeah, these are just some of the other systems that we are sending data to. Okay, so now let me bring up Google here again. So hopefully you know how it is with the demo. We'll see if it actually did anything. There we go. So there is all of our fake parents and fake students. And if I click on this, we should see, let me go to members here. Yeah, there we go. We should see our parents here at their example.com email addresses. So let me go back here to groups, and then we should also see our, yes, we've got our parents of grade level groups here. And if we click on that, there we go. We've got all of our different parents of our fictional grade 10 students. So there we have it, a completed sync. Okay, do you anticipate this being free forever, or is there a plan to transition to this to the paid versions? Okay, yes, good question. Yeah, that's this one is planned to be free forever. So there is a paid version of this that does a little bit more. That, for example, since this one pulls from your one roster data, it doesn't include CC email addresses. And from what I've seen, a lot of schools are not really heavily using CC email addresses for parents. And so we think typically this covers the use case of a lot of schools. If you're heavily using CC email addresses and you want those included. And by the way, the reason that that's only in the paid version is Blackbaud doesn't make that data available free. That's part of their paid API, basically. So the one roster data is available free to sync through, and so that is part of the free sync. But yeah, the plan is just to keep this, and the plan is to hopefully continue to add a few features to this that can make it even more customizable eventually over time. So, but yeah, no rug pull planned here. You're not getting locked into something that that we're gonna start charging for. That's the plan anyway. Can this sync work to create groups for other Guardian constituents? So that no, not with this sync. You would need to go to our paid Google Workspace sync for that, and we can do all kinds of groupings with that. We have schools that are doing it by departments, by school levels, by different role types and things for that. This one is just those two options that we saw on the screen there. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so if I go here, this one is only these two options are available. You can do the student parent groups and the grade parent groups, at least for the moment. That could expand a little bit in the future here, but all right, where can we find the lists of syncs? Oh yeah, so the list of syncs. So if you go to userbus.xyz/pricing, it's this pricing button here, and this has basically the way we do it is for the paid syncs, there's a base subscription cost, and then each sync has its own cost, which is this here. There was a little confusion earlier with the school about, do we have to pay the base each time we get one of these different syncs? And no, it's only going to add this middle part. we're trying to figure out how to make this a little less confusing. So there may be like an instant quote on here at some point or something, but yeah, it's only adding this. So if you got Active Directory Sync and Blackbaud Snap Sync, it's going to be the base subscription, and then plus 25 cents per student with this minimum, plus 25 cents per student. If that makes sense. Okay, so what happens when the students and parent leave the school? So once they leave, it will clean up those groups, meaning it will delete them from Google. So, or in the case if a parent, if you unlisted, let's say for this example here, let's say that you unlist Julia as a parent in Blackbaud. So at that point, UserBus is going to come and modify this group, and it's going to remove Julia's email address from the group. So it's only going to be one email address in the group. Yeah, so it keeps updating these, so it maintains, it's really the whole life cycle of the group, right? It'll do the updates, it'll do the removal once the group is no longer applicable, and it creates them when new ones come in. All right, any other questions here? Give just a minute if anybody has any other questions. But yeah, I appreciate everybody coming as well. This is, this is the first free sync that we have. I think it's a cool tool, and got some schools using it and excited about it. Somebody was telling me yesterday that this was like the first time they felt excited about about one of their Blackbaud integrations. I was like, that's awesome. But if you have any questions about it, or just want to reach out about any of the other ones too, this is my personal email, eric@userbus.xyz, and this is my cell number. So you're not going to a call center here. This would reach me directly. And there's also on the website, there's a contact button that has a way to schedule a Zoom meeting with me too. So available if you need anything. Awesome. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for the thank yous. And yeah, like I said, reach out if you need anything. And excited to see. Hopefully you can get in there and play around with it if this is something that you're interested in. All right, and with that, I will let everybody go. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest.